Hello, and welcome to the Love Life Connection podcast, a podcast for successful women who feel like they have it all except love. I'm your host, Veronica Grant, a love and life coach. And my only goal with this podcast is to inspire you to believe in yourself and that real love is possible for you, even in our swipe right, swipe left world. Hello, and welcome to a special mini-series on the Love Life Connection called Dating in the Wild. This past Tuesday, I released part 1 of the series, which is called Why Meeting People IRL is Easier Than You Think. And while you don't have to listen to that episode before this one, I definitely recommend listening to it. I think the answers may surprise you and give you pause to how you're working to meet someone. So today is part 2, and it's called 3 Mistakes and Myths to Meeting People IRL. And by the way, if you're new and haven't heard me define IRL, IRL means in real life. Okay, I have a lot of clients who are very adamant about not wanting to meet their partners on the apps. Now, I will say I have no problem with dating apps. I think they can be a really great tool to meet people, especially if you are limited on time or if you just want to meet people that you might not otherwise have met. But this episode in the series is not defending online dating. We're talking about meeting people IRL. So if you, like many of my clients, want to meet people off the apps, what I often do with them is I challenge them to create serendipitous moments. Now, according to Oxford Dictionary, serendipity is defined as the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way, which means what can you do to create serendipity? What can you do to create the off chance that you might meet someone new today? I believe we have a lot of control over this. Not 100% control, but I do think we have a lot of control over creating some of these serendipitous moments that we can encounter in our life. So this can be as little as saying hi to a stranger at the grocery store instead of burying yourself in your phone. It can look like joining a meetup group and actually going to an event. It can look like complimenting someone on their shoes, and maybe that starts a conversation. I don't know, if someone is wearing a shirt of the college that you went to, you can say something, hey, did you go to UNC too? I went, that's awesome, and who knows where that conversation might go. You never know, maybe nothing. But one of the reasons I love the series How I Met Your Mother is because the whole series is about this idea that one seemingly unrelated event can lead to the next seemingly unrelated event, and so on and so on and so on, until the main character, Ted Mosby, meets his kid's mother. Seriously, if you haven't watched that series, it's so good. I think it's on Hulu right now. I don't know if it's staying on Hulu forever, so I don't know when you're listening to this episode, but if you're listening around, summer 2021, it's definitely still there. It's so good. It's all about serendipity and fate and the universe, and I don't know. I could watch that show all day long. And I just feel like so much of my podcast is based off of that show, like the How I Met Stevie series is totally based off of that as well. Anyways, I digress. So when I've guided my clients through creating more serendipity in their life, I noticed some common mistakes and myths. So I want to distill them here just so that you don't make the same mistakes or believe the same myths too. So number 1, believing every interaction has to lead to something. So part of creating serendipitous moments is putting yourself in situations often outside your comfort zone, often outside your daily routine, where you're creating an opportunity for something to happen. This can be as simple as saying hello to your Starbucks barista rather than ordering on the app, or as big as approaching someone you think is cute at a party. Now, many of your interactions will lead to absolutely nothing. Maybe the other person won't be open to talking to a stranger. Maybe the person you approach is married, or I don't know, it'll otherwise be a dead-end conversation. Serendipity and really most things in life won't work if you're attached to every interaction having a specific outcome. You will get burnt out. Because when you're wanting to create serendipity, one of 3 things will happen. Either 1, some will lead to something obvious right away. And by the way, this rarely happens. When you're wanting to create serendipity, one of 3 things will happen. 1, some will lead to something obvious right away. However, please know this rarely happens because you don't live in a rom-com. Number 2, your interactions will lead to absolutely nothing. And number 3, it'll lead to something, but you'll be in the middle of it. You won't be able to see how it's all playing out. Again, by the way, this is the whole point of How I Met Your Mother. It's so good. Anyways, the first outcome is very, very, very rare. Again, because you don't live in a rom-com. But if you're expecting something to come from every single interaction that you have, or even most interactions that you have, you're going to get frustrated and burnt out very, very easily. All right, the second mistake/myth is rejecting yourself before giving someone else the opportunity to reject you. I really get it. Rejection sucks. There's no way around it. And there's no way to rejection-proof yourself unless you're going to decide to live under a rock. But don't reject yourself first. Some people may not want to talk to you. Some people may already be in a relationship. Who knows why someone may reject you, but you don't have to make that call for them. In fact, one thing I do with my clients is to challenge them to get rejected. Not just in the sense of asking people out, but I challenge them to make absurd requests that they're pretty sure they're going to get rejected for. And I got this idea from a talk I heard a tech entrepreneur give. And the premise is he was trying to start this company, but he had 0 clients. And he realized that his fear of rejection was paralyzing him. So in order to overcome his fear of rejection, he challenged himself to go out and get rejected. So I think he asked a police officer if he could take a picture of himself sitting at the wheel of the police car. He asked, it was Krispy Kreme or some donut shop to make him donuts in the shape of Olympic rings and so forth. And he was fully expecting to get no's to all of these requests. And guess what? He actually didn't. So, okay, I know that was a bit of a spoiler for the video if you decide to watch it, which we'll put that link in the show notes, but I wanted to make my point. So yes, build your rejection resilience, but also you're going to be surprised, and I want you to create space for possibility. People want more friends. People want more social things to do. People don't want to feel so alone. So if you challenge yourself to get rejected, I think you're going to be surprised. All right, the third mistake/myth is you don't have to be an extrovert or outgoing. Now, I'm going to talk about this a lot more in the third part of the series, but what I'll say right now is, yes, online dating is truly a blessing for us introverts, but that doesn't mean an introvert can't create serendipitous moments too. We live in a world that overly values extroverted nature. Susan Cain in her book Quiet shows just how much extroversion is valued in our society in ways that even surprised me when I was reading her book. But that doesn't mean being an introvert is inferior. Extroverts, yes, have many beautiful qualities. I'm not trying to poo-poo on you guys at all, but so do introverts. Introverts tend to be more empathetic, deep listeners, and intuits. Not that extroverts don't have these qualities, but I do think they come easier to introverts. And these are beautiful gifts to bring into a relationship or even just a short conversation with a stranger. So if you're an introvert, you will have to do more to protect your energy if you're trying to create serendipity, because that will drain you in a way that's not the same for an extrovert. So, take care of yourself, make sure you have downtime so you don't wear yourself out. But that does not mean you can't do this. So in the third installment of this series, I'm going to teach you how you can use the idea of serendipity to meet more people IRL. Even if you're introverted, even if you hate crowded spaces, if you're shy or have some mild social anxiety, I got you all covered. And if you want to dive deeper with me, I'd love to help you meet someone off the apps and in the wild through my upcoming Serendipity Challenge. It's totally free, and for 5 days, I'll help you create more serendipity in your life so you can attract potential partners. It's going to be so easy, I bet you're going to surprise yourself. And don't worry, while serendipity is ultimately about manifesting, and I think there's a lot of spirituality that can go into serendipity, I'm not teaching you toxic law of attraction tactics. And if that sounds kind of interesting to you, I will be leading a workshop in the challenge about this where I'll teach you how to manifest without using the law of attraction. And I'll share more details on that after you sign up. So if you're ready to get offline and back into the wild, this is the perfect thing to do, and I would love to support you. So to sign up for free, head over to veronicagrant.com/serendipity. Plus, as soon as you sign up, I'll send you 25 plus ways to meet people off the apps. And my favorite way is number 26. It's totally free, and you can sign up at veronicagrant.com/serendipity. And I'll see you in a few days for part 3 of Dating in the Wild, where I'll teach you how to meet more people IRL. Thanks for listening to the Love Life Connection podcast. You can find the show notes for this episode at veronicagrant.com/podcast. And that's also the place you can sign up to be coached by me here on the show. And if you love this podcast, please leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. It helps more incredible women like you find this show and find real love. Until next time, remember, wherever you are is exactly where you need to be. You're not broken and you don't need to be fixed. Just because you've never had the relationship you want before doesn't mean you can't have it now.